Hi friends, welcome back to another episode of Washing Dishes, where today we're doing something that seemed kind of fun and a friend of mine suggested. We're going to try to make Evan and Katelyn's broccoli, and then we're going to try to make it better. I'm going to start by breaking down some broccoli, and we'll just kind of talk about it as we go. So if you don't know who they are, Evan and Katelyn are a husband and wife couple who are... I'm making a lot of noise. Anyway, Evan and Katelyn are these two really cool DIY YouTubers. They're a married couple, and they do resin and all kinds of cool stuff, and they've done a few cooking videos, and they're amazing YouTubers, and I felt like it would be fun to kind of take one of their recipes, try it out, and then see what I can do better with, like a professional eye to things. As a rule, I generally don't critique or criticize home cooks, amateur chefs, whatever you want to call them, because they are not trying to do what I was trained to do and have done professionally. It's not fair. It's not reasonable. However, Evan and Katelyn are professional YouTubers, and I am an amateur YouTuber, so I feel like this is a little bit turnabout being fair play. But, spoilers, their recipe's really good, and I am going to improve it, and we'll go through how, but I'm not going to say they make bad food. Their food's good. So what I've been doing here is breaking a couple of heads of broccoli down into pretty small florets. Also, I'm throwing the stems into the bowl with the florets because all of the broccoli is delicious and edible, so there's no reason to waste the stems. They're a little crunchier, but it's just good heterogeneity and, good texture. I guess now is also a good time to just kind of go over the recipe. So Evan and Katelyn's recipe is essentially broccoli cooked in oil with some salt and pepper and some red chili flake. As you can see in the bottom of the screen, I have chili powder. It's homemade chili powder. I'm going to use it for their recipe and for my recipe to keep that even. They also use a pretty big portion of garlic, and they use the pre-minced garlic. And they mention, of course, that using fresh garlic would be better. And look, I have a bottle of pre-minced garlic in my fridge just like they do. But it happens that I also have some minced fresh garlic. So I'm going to use that for my recipe just to kind of, illustrate the difference that using fresh versus the processed product makes. Once we've got the broccoli broken down into the small florets and little chunks of stem, we're going to head on over to the stove and get these going side by side. I've got the mise en place laid out, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the dishes. On the right, you've got a nonstick pan, because when I watched Evan and Katelyn's video, obviously link in the description, it looked like they were using a nonstick pan. On the left, I have a stainless steel pan for mine. It is relevant. Also, my pan has been well used. I've had it for a long time. We're using olive oil in the right pan for Evan and Katelyn's, and canola oil in the left pan for mine. And we're going to let those heat up over high heat. And then we're going to turn it down to medium-low once we've gotten a little bit of a sear on the broccoli. Scratch that. I was wrong. Turn it down to medium-high once we've got a little bit of a sear on the broccoli. My bad. My little test pieces have started to sizzle, so we're going to go ahead and add all of the broccoli to the pans. I'm crowding these pans, but it's not going to be an issue. The only issue is that some of the broccoli is going to fall out when I move it around. Oopsies. But yeah, we're going to get the broccoli in, and then we're going to add some salt and pepper and some chili powder, and we're going to cook it until it starts to get kind of crispy around the edges and gets a good sear on it. Essentially, I'm just letting these sit with one side of the broccoli down for a little bit, letting that side get some color, tossing it around, stirring it around, letting some other sides get some color. Broccoli is never going to be perfectly evenly browned all over. So you just want to get the color where you can get flavor and the crisp, and then let it cook through. Just try not to burn too much of it. It's time to add some stuff, and I want to talk about it, so I'm going to slow this down to real time while I add the chili powder to both dishes. The recipe will be in the description, and Evan and Katelyn have one in their video as well. I'm adding the pre-minced garlic to the non-stick Evan and Katelyn pan, and then I'm adding my minced fresh garlic to my pan. And you can see we've also started to build up a little bit of fond in the bottom of our pan, and that will become relevant later as to why I'm using a stainless steel pan instead of a non-stick. And I'm just tossing this around to get the garlic mixed around and make sure it doesn't burn. And you really, at this point, really need to be careful not to let the garlic burn. So we're going to let that go for just a little bit, and I'll hop back in when I do some other fun stuff. Speaking of fun stuff, we're going to deglaze my version with some vegetable stock. You could use water, you could use chicken stock. I have vegetable stock around. It's in a box. Deal with it. So we're going to scrape the bottom of the pan and pick up those little bits that are stuck and just kind of cook off the stock a little bit to kind of create almost a little sauce. The Evan and Katelyn version is basically done. It just needs to go for another little bit to actually, finish cooking the broccoli. But to finish mine off, I'm going to add some Parmesan cheese and toss that around till it gets all melty. It's going to be so good. And that's basically going to do it. So let's get these finished cooking and out of the pan, and we'll go check out a quick taste test. We've got my version on the left and Evan and Katelyn's version on the right, and let's go ahead and give them a taste. And we're going to start, of course, with Evan and Katelyn's to get the baseline for comparison. All right, let's taste. So Evan and Katelyn's is delicious. It's broccoli, it's garlicky and a little spicy. Yeah, I really can't complain about this. It's good. And now let's try mine. Also, nice and good broccoli flavor, a little more garlicky, and it's a little bit better. But did I improve it by using a fresh ingredient and a bunch of Parmesan cheese? Also, yeah, they're both good. And so really, here's the solution. Yeah, we're just going to use both of them. Why wouldn't I? They're both delicious, garlicky, a little bit spicy broccoli. And like Evan and Katelyn, I'm going to put this over some pasta and have it for dinner. It's delicious. And yes, I'm adding a bunch of extra Parmesan cheese because Parmesan cheese is also delicious. Turns out, who knew, right? Anyway, thanks for watching. Stick around. Hey, thanks for staying till the end. I really appreciate it. If you like that, check out a couple of these other videos. They're probably up your alley too. I have a Twitch channel at twitch.tv/washinthewind. I'm on Twitter at washinthewind, and I'm on Instagram at washinthewind, but without the E. Mostly because of the character limit. If you'd like to show some support, a Twitch sub or a Patreon subscription would be wonderful, but what helps the most is a like, a subscribe here, and sharing the video with your friends. I hope you've had a wonderful time enjoying the video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your time zone. Thanks very much for watching.